Welcome, everyone. I'm Jill Huselton, Vice President of Product Marketing at Vbrick, and I'm your host for today. I want to thank you so much for joining our webinar to learn about creating video-powered employee information hubs and ways CH Robinson is doing this now. I would bet that most of you are here today because you have plans in 2026 to level up your employees' experience. Today, you'll hear about trends we've seen in creating more engaging experiences and how this can be achieved with Vbrick's out-of-the-box integration with ServiceNow. A few housekeeping notes before we get going. Hopefully you can hear me, but if not, be sure to click tap to unmute in the player window. And if you have any questions during the session, use the Q&A on the right-hand side of the toolbar to submit them. If we don't get to them during the webinar, we'll follow up with you afterwards, and we'll be sure to also share the recording. First, here's a look at how we'll spend the next 45 minutes or so. As you probably know, workflows, whether designed for teams or an entire enterprise, only truly deliver value when employees engage. Today, our experts will explore how ServiceNow is driving that engagement by creating a unified employee hub and how adding video through Vbrick amplifies and accelerates adoption. You'll hear from a ServiceNow and Vbrick customer who's embarking on this journey and how they implemented video and what they learned along the way. Then we'll have time for a discussion and take a few questions. I'm excited to have Jeyes, Senior Vice President of Product Management from Vbrick, and Eric Hemmer, Principal Solution Consultant for Employee Experience at ServiceNow with us today. They'll walk you through how companies are replacing legacy intranets with more engaging experiences and the key role video plays in that strategic initiative. And then we're very lucky to have Teresa Carvajal, Principal HR Technology Analyst at CH Robinson here, and she is going to show you how she's executed on her vision to transform her company's intranet. Eric, I will turn it over to you to kick us off.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for having Teresa and I join you on the webinar today. I wanted to take a few moments and just talk about some trends as they relate to employee experience. One of the things that I've been able to do at ServiceNow is run our best employee experience contest. And as such, we have the best examples that you could possibly imagine. And obviously, a lot of these customers are taking advantage of video and all of the value that that delivers. Because if you think about it, for a long time, there's been this notion of consolidation. And what that means is there's this element of engagement, such as modern and personalized actionable communications. And there's this element of getting services. But there's often a little bit of a conflict because to engage means to spend some time in the experience, and to get answer services support means to go in and get them as quickly as possible and then get back to doing your normal work. But ServiceNow is bringing all of that together with EC Pro, and I'm going to show you how customers are taking advantage of that. But the real challenge is for employee communication specialists, how do they get people's attention in the flow of work? And so we're going to talk about video as one of the channels or mediums that they are using to do that effectively. Now, as I mentioned, everything is coming together. So there is no more notion about, oh, I go to our intranet to get updated news and information, and then I go to ServiceNow to do everything else. It's all coming together, and the analysts have begun to notice that in 2025. And the truth is, ServiceNow can look however you would like it to. So for all of these finalists in our contest, you can see the variation. But you can also see how many are using video. There's video here, there's video here, there's video here, right? There's video here, there's video here. And so video is a channel that has become extremely popular. If you think about it, it should be no surprise. Where do people today get a lot of their news, especially younger people? Well, it's things like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, right? They're not getting a physical newspaper delivered to their house anymore. And so people have noticed that. In fact, if you look at the portal called Home Court from the NBA, I was talking with Sydney, their head of communications, a few weeks ago, and she was talking about this balancing act of grabbing people's attention before they get their answer and then leave without noticing one of the things that her team wants them to understand, a new perk that they're rolling out, or in this example, this video that they have produced, so they understand what the NBA is doing to give back to the community. In this next example here, From the communications team at Jacobs Solutions, you'll see how they have video front and center in some of those news productions that they are publishing for their employees. So they're grabbing people's attention where they start their day to begin their digital daily journey. In this example from Danone, you can see again, they're using the video to grab people's attention. And from the fact that this is halfway through that video and this screen capture, makes me believe they're using things like autoplay, just like if you were looking at reels on Facebook or on Instagram or TikTok, because the motion grabs humans' eyes and attention, and therefore they're much more likely to click in to get the full story. Now, what's really interesting about Rocket Companies here and Chris Smith, their director of internal communications, is they actually did a broadcast news show where two employees would read the news to catch up people, the employees, on everything they need to know in 5 minutes or less. And they said that this is one of the most popular mediums for delivering the news because people are engaged. It's just like watching ABC News or CNN when you go home on your TV, and they made it entertaining. So they used video as a way of grabbing people's attention and doing it in an entertaining way so that all the associates there at Rocket Companies would have a full understanding of what's going on with the company. And then finally, it's not always just about the news, but video is a tremendously powerful tool and channel to educate people too, whether it's learning, whether it's getting them to do the things they need to do, or providing guided tours like you can see Mondelez doing on this beautiful HR portal they've developed. Video is one of the most common and most advanced and most effective mediums that we see today. And that's why we partner with companies like Vbrick, who can deliver this in highly integrated fashion that allows you to take the full advantage of what video delivers.
Thanks so much, Eric. It's always exciting to see some of the Employee Center Contest winners, how they're using video and other engaging capabilities within ServiceNow. And it's also great to see the vision of ServiceNow for creating that employee hub, where not only are you creating engaging experiences, but you're also helping to accelerate work to give employees answers to their questions before they need to engage some sort of service management lifecycle or create a ticket or anything like that. So obviously, Vbrick is a platform for adding video within ServiceNow to help drive engagement and productivity within the ServiceNow platform. And when you think about it, there's a lot of things that come wrapped in this package. We make it super easy to add video into the ServiceNow platform. We can add both live and video on demand streaming capabilities. We have AI technology that can help you to easily translate and transcribe that content so that you have subtitles and audio in multiple languages for your global workforce. And it's right in the ServiceNow store with seamless security, FedRAMP certified for those government agencies in the US, and SOC 2 Type 2 and GDPR compliant. So it makes it really easy, secure, and efficient to add video right into your ServiceNow platform. Now, not only can you think of video as being something that drives employee engagement through news articles or those live streaming company events, but you can also think about how video can be added throughout ServiceNow within knowledge base articles, within IT or HR service delivery workflows to be able to help either deflect those cases or help your agents be able to resolve those cases more efficiently by getting right to the point in the video that they need to get work done. And so what we typically see is that, when customers come to us to add video within their ServiceNow Employee Center portal, within their ServiceNow workflows, a lot of times it starts with just these ideas around, how do we modernize our intranet? How do we, add more engaging knowledge articles so that so that employees can find the resources they need. But from there, it starts to be about how do you transform this user experience to be more engaging, to be more dynamic, to be more digitally native, while keeping it secure and confidential. And then how do you empower self-service so that employees can get what they need and get back to work, or to be able to expedite the fulfillment of any of those service management workflows that you have within ServiceNow. And so, Teresa is going to show you in just a minute what a lot of these actual use cases are and some of the great things that CH Robinson is doing within ServiceNow using video. But just an idea of some of these things, it can be whether it's live streaming department meetings, live streaming news shows, as Eric mentioned, whether it's quick learning videos, or video within learning objects within ServiceNow, within tasks or journeys within ServiceNow, whether that's creating videos that are more inclusive by providing that transcription or translation, or showcasing different things going on across the organization, or testimonials from employees. There are just so many great ways to use video within your Employee Hub, within your Employee Center Pro implementation. And so just to give you a quick idea of how easy it is to add video. So here's a look at Employee Center Pro. Now, this is a completely vanilla implementation of this. You can have, as Eric showed you, so many different custom looks and feels that are really tailored to your organization, your culture, and your employee base. But in almost all of these cases, you're going to have some sort of news, some sort of announcements, right, in your news and events center. And we integrate directly with what's called the rich content editor. So you can be building out a news article in Employee Center Pro and add a video, and then be able to pick just a video from your library without ever having to leave ServiceNow. And so if I look here for travel video, here I can just pick it, apply it. That video is now added within this article. I can save and finish that, and then come see it here directly in that article in Employee Center Pro. It's embedded, I'm securely authenticated, I can play it back, all the metrics are tracked, and it creates that engaging experience. The other thing that's newer within ServiceNow from Vbrick is the ability to search for videos right within ServiceNow. And so I'm going to have this case where I'm having audio issues with Zoom, right? And not only will I get videos back on how to potentially resolve this issue, but also with Now Assist, it is taking the information from that video and giving me a summary of how to solve this issue. Without ever having to watch the video, it's helping to make Now Assist, ServiceNow's generative AI platform, smarter about how to resolve these types of issues. I can also go and watch this video without ever having to leave ServiceNow, play that back, and be able to search the transcript, or directly ask a question, something like, how do I fix my Zoom audio? I know that I'm not muted. And it tells me how to manage my settings. It shows me where in the video I need to go to jump right to that settings menu. And so here we are integrating video, not just from employee communications, but from an IT issue resolution perspective, and then using AI from Vbrick to be able to help jump right to the point of the video to resolve that issue without ever opening the case. And so this is just kind of a quick idea of some of the things you can do with video in the ServiceNow platform using Vbrick. But I'm really excited to be joined by Teresa Carvajal of CH Robinson to be able to share what they've been doing internally with their EC Pro implementation, their HR service delivery workflows, and their employee journeys with ServiceNow and Vbrick. So I'll hand it over to you, Teresa.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa Carvajal, Principal HR Technology Analyst at CH Robinson, and I'm going to share our journey with implementing video through Vbrick, covering the challenges we faced, what drove us to adopt the solution, and our current use cases, along with a demo. I'll also walk you through our site just to make sure you can see everything that we've built. Starting with our challenges and drivers, one of the most basic challenges that Vbrick fulfilled for us was that our HR videos were not created in YouTube, which is one of the few native compatible platforms with ServiceNow. We also needed something that would enable us to be globally inclusive. Before Vbrick, it took multiple resources across the globe over several days, sometimes weeks, to translate videos. With Vbrick, we do all of this work in a matter of seconds, sometimes a couple minutes, with just one resource using the AI transcription and translations within the Vbrick platform. Another driver for us to move to Vbrick was keeping just content fresh without manual effort. Automated playlists using metadata tagging makes that possible for us today. And finally, we wanted engagement and scalability, and we are able to now embed our videos directly into Charlie, our HR portal, to achieve that goal. So you should see up here today, this is Charlie. I am in my dev instance, so you'll see some things that are sort of out of date, but that's okay. We're going to show you all the video efforts that we've been doing with Vbrick along the last course of the last year. These efforts I will walk through have led to increased engagement on our portal pages, improved global accessibility through translations, and streamlined content management thanks to automation and meta tagging. So I'll start here. This is our homepage, Charlie. You'll see people are greeted with what we call now a spotlight. This is a rich content editor that we use to populate. And right now, you see we're introducing a new medical plan called Surest. Within this, we have the capability to add as much content and text as we'd like. And this is a playlist. So there are different levels of playlists available within Vbrick for people to engage and play. Another nice feature is when you are using playlists and you have them automated, and with the integration between Vbrick and ServiceNow, is if I go in and add a new video to the playlist, it will automatically play and be added to our homepage. It's not something I have to manually do. So you can kind of work all in one place, which is very, very beneficial. The next place I will take you is right here to our compensation page. So we'll come here. We have a topic page for compensation. And for this page, we actually have multiple global personas that in audiences. So this first one is for Americas. This one here is for our warehouse population. And then this is for our population outside of the Americas. And you can see we have very different views, but within Vbrick, you can see we're able again to display a playlist just to the population that we want to and target it. What's really nice about this particular playlist is that you'll see we have the translations available and the subtitles. This again took us a matter of seconds to do, which is amazing and such a time save. Something I will say though, as you go through this and you sort of learn your lessons, is that make sure you play back the AI translations and listen to them. Particularly for our French Canada, that one was playing at a very much higher pace than what we were, expecting. So just ensure that you're providing great experiences and figure out what your strategy might be around that. In addition to these sort of playlists that you have like with the slider, we also have playlists that are available in different views. So the grid view is what we're using here. Just we have a different homepage video series that we display, and so you can kind of see all of the videos out there. So it's kind of nice to be able to have options for displaying information and data within our topic pages. Another thing that we do a lot of is microsites. So a popular microsite that we have is in support of our open enrollment season. And when we go out here, you'll see again, we have the playlist here for Surest. What's nice about this is the Surest playlist is in two places, but the data is the source is one place, and that's Vbrick. So any of the metrics we're getting are holistic matrix. We're not having to add things together. It's the same playlist, so you're getting all the data you need already compounded for you. The other nice thing around this is we did have live sessions for people to enroll in, and then we recorded those sessions. So once the session was over, you could go back and watch it. So we have these buttons that we, again, create within the rich content editor, and then we have the recording stored here. And it takes you straight over to Vbrick to watch. So no having to log in. It's a very seamless experience for all of our employees. What was also kind of cool is that prior to the sessions, these were enrollment buttons. So all we did was switch the links. So once the recording was available, it changed from enroll to watch. And then the last thing I will show you is our journeys. Journeys is another thing that we do. And again, with the open enrollment journey, we embedded video as a resource. So on this one here, Get to Know UHC, we were able to embed within our support resources video. So allowing our employees to choose what channel best works for them and be able to get access to the content that they need. So these are just some of the examples of how we use Vbrick within Charlie today. We are looking ahead to doing some of the neat things that have been referred to on this call, like using the searchable indexing for videos right straight from our homepage to be able to search videos. And we're also working on an anniversary experience where people are going to share their testimonials, and we'll have those embedded into Charlie as well.
Thanks so much for that demo, Teresa. It's always great to see Charlie and see how it's coming along with all of these great video initiatives, onboarding initiatives, and anniversary projects that you're doing. I guess a question for you and for Eric would be, what do you see as trends within, the next year or so, our 2026 forecast for what you're going to be seeing in Employee Center Pro? And Teresa, if you want to go first.
Yeah, for us, it's getting better at placing the videos in the flow of work, right? Mm-hmm. The open enrollment journey was the first sort of way for us to dip our toe in that, and we found a lot of success. And so we are building more journeys as we speak. We're creating one right now for goal setting and compensation planning for our leaders. So I see a future where we're embedding that more into where we're placing employees and managers to actually do their work and do their tasking.
Very cool. I love how, as you come up with open enrollment or reviews, how now you're naturally thinking about how do we make this more engaging? How do we use video to make this process richer and more effective way of communicating with employees? What about you, Eric? Any trends or, kind of things that you see on the horizon for Employee Center and video, or Employee Center in general, 2026?
Yeah, sure. Good question, David. Without a doubt, people are going to start leveraging the conversational interfaces even more, especially as people have become more conversant or comfortable with things like ChatGPT. And so it was really good timing for Vbrick to index videos so that they could be returned in search, because not as many people are going to be browsing and looking at pages. I think people will always still do that. And there will be a subset of people who enjoy browsing and looking for things, and it will catch their attention. But so many are going to be initiating conversations that it's going to be important to bring back the video as one of the results so that they know it exists and have an opportunity to engage with it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And, one of our goals is to be able to provide that video understanding, the transcript layer, the translation layer, and then be able to feed that into Now Assist, where it can be used alongside knowledge articles, news articles, and other content to really be able to answer employee questions, to keep them up with the pulse of what's going on within the organization. And so, we're really excited about this integration with AI search and Now Assist. You can do one or both, right? You don't have to necessarily go as far as Now Assist, but as you saw there, really enables a rich dialogue with your virtual agent or with your Genius results to be able to help answer those questions.
Absolutely. I've actually got a question for you, Teresa. You guys obviously did a great job with Charlie, your portal, and won one of the awards in 2025. And I know that you gather employee feedback, and I'm just curious, do you ever get feedback specifically on videos that you're able to see from employees?
No, that's actually a good call out. We do a bit of crowdsourcing. That's how we rebuilt Charlie. We had a crowdsourcing survey and we asked a single open-ended question: Charlie would be even better if. And so the top three things in that is that they didn't like our old search, which was more around keywords. So that's why we moved forward with AI search. And we didn't used to have topic pages. So, and that was the number one thing people wanted, was a place to move towards. But what's interesting is, as we are becoming more mature in the AI space, I can see where like video showing up natively within our conversations, just like what you were bringing up, it's just going to become an expectation. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be something people call out. It's just going to be expected.
That's a good point. Although, I think what one exciting announcement that we can provide about getting feedback on videos is, much like knowledge articles, you have a feedback capability to be able to collect, was this helpful, was this not helpful? Well, Teresa, when you roll out the AI search connector, we'll have a similar type of reporting feature, so people can actually flag whether a video helped resolve their issue, and you can start to count on that and see, are there videos that are especially helpful? Are there ones where maybe you need to change them out? And Eric, I don't know that you were intentionally queuing me up for that or anything like that, but it's something that will be available both within the video pages in ServiceNow where you can watch those videos, or within Service Portal widget. So if you drop something in the flow of work, you can be collecting that feedback right there within MC Pro.
I like that. That's actually going to like help us talk more about sentiment. I feel like how people feel, which is something that we're trying to get more aligned with as we explore our listening strategies. I think another thing that Vbrick does really, really well in terms of the data and the reporting is it shows us the drop-off rate. So I'm able to manage conversations with these video owners to say, listen, you have two videos and this one's extremely like outperforming this other one, and you can see where the drop-off rate is. And a lot of times it is because they're using lengthier videos, and so they have to figure out how to make it just more consumable. I think another thing that's helped with that is the automatic chaptering that Vbrick also offers, and just being able to provide that experience as well has been pretty awesome to be actually see it in the data.
That's great. And so you talked about surveys that you're doing to get feedback, trying to discern sentiment, looking at drop-off rate. Are there any other metrics that you recommend that intranet owners keep an eye on to make sure that they're monitoring their progress?
I think just the overall views, like understanding how long a video should even be up. So when we talk about governance and things like that, like videos do go stale, just like content goes stale. So I think using the data to also understand at what point is that stale point, and then knowing that we need to dynamically either change it or even sometimes just take a break.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, you're just looking at the metrics and seeing, maybe this is trailing off, and maybe it's time to freshen up the homepage, whether that's with a video or a new article or just something to keep the employees engaged. That's a great thought. Excellent discussion. Why don't we bring Jill out now and we can see if there are any questions we want to answer.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you, Teresa, for sharing your insights and great presentations from Dave and Eric. We have gotten a couple of questions that I'll throw out there. One is, a couple people had asked, and Dave, this is really more for you, but do the videos take up storage in ServiceNow? So when you're uploading videos to your AC Pro portal, what's happening with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And ServiceNow isn't necessarily intended to be a storage device, right? It's a workflow application. It's a portal and an employee hub for getting work done. And so those videos are stored in the Vbrick platform. We create multiple bit rates so that if you're on a mobile device, you're just bringing down the amount of video that you need. And then we embed those seamlessly into ServiceNow so you get the security you need without taking up space within your database.
Perfect. And Eric, this one is for you. We talked a little bit about, Teresa was just talking about with video and keeping that content fresh and keeping it so that it wasn't getting too stale. But do you have any other tips from customers for other content that they're sharing on their EC Pro sites?
Yes, sure. One of the common threads that we've seen across all of the customers who become finalists in our contest is that they have at least one person who's actually responsible for employee experience. So they have somebody in the role of looking at the analytics to find out what's popular and what might be coming stale. They're somebody who's looking at the feedback and making plans to do something about it, making sure that things are produced to a certain standard so that they're consistent. And it's the customers that don't have that, which are really missing an opportunity to not only engage the employees, but also to drive up self-service rates and deflection rates. Because in one sense, at high level, it's almost like a popularity contest. You want people going to the portal or through mobile to be familiar with it. And that's where they're going to start self-serving and getting answers themselves, which alleviates the burden on the support teams.
Definitely, that's great. This other one came in about governance and controls and wanting to know what governance and controls exist to ensure that content is staying secure, relevant, meeting any compliance requirements. So thinking about content in general within ServiceNow, but then also from a video perspective. So Eric, I'll let you start, and then Dave, you can answer from the video.
Sure, and it'll be great, if Teresa or Dave wants to get into the content governance plugin or maybe, how that's being utilized. But one of the things that I thought about earlier as Dave was speaking is, customers could embed video in ServiceNow for a long time, but it wasn't always secure or authenticated. It had to come from a public source like YouTube, which doesn't work for everybody. So one of the first big wins I think that Vbrick introduced was creating the integration framework such that people could have videos that are behind their firewall, not publicly accessible, and require authentication of it with single sign-on, so it's seamless from their employees to be able to then access those. So that really unlocked the potential for video for a lot of customers.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, a lot of your internal communications, right, it's privileged. You want to keep it from leaking to the public. And so that's why we have the secure video platform with embedding, because you want that video to be where the employees are, right? You don't always want to try and push them to another source or another destination, rather, to find that video. We also have tools in Vbrick that allow for really strict access control, as well as approval workflows, right? And those approval workflows can tie into ServiceNow approvals if you so desire, so that you can make sure that the right people are reviewing that content, signing off on it before pushing it live. And so, we're talking about kind of the frameworks there that are possible. I'd be curious from you, Teresa, if there's anything specific that your team is doing from a governance or compliance perspective for your content in ServiceNow.
Yeah, so we have a governance model in place where all of our content is reviewed annually. So with the Vbrick videos being embedded within our articles and we're like not even knowledge, just even the news articles and on the portal in our topic pages, those are reviewed annually by our SMEs and our owners, our content owners. So that's how we're ensuring that we're staying within that requirement. But in addition to that is natively, just even within ServiceNow and just us using like even the content experiences and content publishing through rich content editor and all that, we're targeting our audiences specifically. So like we could have a video that's out there that should only be seen by someone in the China population. Maybe they have something new with PIPL or something along the likes of that. and we're able to target directly to that audience based off of the capabilities built within ServiceNow directly. So I think it makes it super strong case. Like, yes, Vbrick has all of these things internally built in, but from an administrative person like standpoint for ServiceNow, like some people can be kind of like, now I have to maintain two systems. Well, no, not really. As long as you know how to maintain your audiences and your user criteria in ServiceNow, you're going to be in a great spot.
That's awesome. Another question, this is for Dave, and we touched on this a little bit, but to sort of summarize it, what makes an enterprise video solution like Vbrick different from just embedding videos that might be stored somewhere else?
Sure, yeah, great question. And I think Eric touched on that a little bit, right? In the fact that you can have it be secure, you can have it be directly tied into your employee population and your employee portal, so that that content is securely managed, with all kinds of ways to prevent data leakage, and to provide this governance framework either in ServiceNow and Vbrick or a little bit of both, depending on your organizational needs, right? In addition to just the flexibility. And so you saw some of the ways that Teresa is taking video and adding it to existing ServiceNow workflows and components. And this is true across the board, right? It's you can add playlists, you can add videos, you can add live events in ServiceNow or in really any applications that you have internally, to be able to create these engaging experiences and help employees get work done.
Yeah, it really makes things easier for everybody when it comes right down to it, right? Easier to administer, easier to access, saves you from the worry of where's your content, who's accessing it. So that's good. Thank you. And so along those lines, Teresa, I have two questions for you. The first one is, what would be your advice to someone who is thinking about trying to take these steps to bring video into their EC Pro instance?
Yeah, my advice is do it. So the time savings has been such an amazing thing. Vbrick does regular releases. So like the functionality is innovative. It's constantly growing and we're staying, above the trends just because of how quickly new functionality is coming out. It just keeps things nice, fresh, and just like feels like a consumer grade product at work, which is, the best you can ask for. Is to like say, I do this at home. How come I can't do it at work? But now you can with Vbrick.
That's great. And then follow that up. What is the one thing that comes to mind that you want everyone to know as far as what made things so much easier for you or better to manage, that you were just like, I can't believe this wasn't created before, I didn't know about this?
Yeah, I think from the onset, like the Vbrick team, period. I am not a technical person. I am just an HR practitioner, but I was able to set up the Vbrick integration on my own. And Dave can attest to that, right? So it's that simple. If you have the access, you can follow the instructions that are out there within Rev. I know it's getting changed to EVP, so just in case. But the team was accessible. So if I ran into any questions or issues, just the whole setup process was amazing with the Vbrick team. But even beyond that, just the AI capabilities, us being able to translate was a game changer. At one point, we were using our L&D team, our curriculum instruction folks, to do all of that in the past for us. And now they're sending us stuff to just translate for them. So it's kind of really changed how quickly we are able to get things out there and how productive we're able to be.
That's great. Well, we love to hear that the team has been so supportive. So that's wonderful to hear. Eric, this one is for you. I think we have time for one or two more questions. But what would you advise people are the best metrics or analytics to help prove their EC Pro adoption and value?
Sure. I mean, one is looking at the number of employees that are visiting the portal or the mobile experience on a weekly or monthly basis. What's interesting is that when ServiceNow is only used for support, people only go there when they have a support need, they might only go there a couple of times a year, and then they've forgotten that it exists or how to use it. When you make it engaging, and especially when you replace your intranet and it's the first thing every employee uses every day, well, then employees are visiting it multiple times per week. So the volume of traffic goes way up. And so that's one of the metrics. But then, continuously collecting the feedback, understanding the employee satisfaction, asking them what their channels of choice are, allowing them to designate the preferences or topics of news that they're interested in. So they're able to tailor and personalize the experience even more, has been very successful for a lot of our customers. And I would bet that if our customers were to survey their employees and say, how do you prefer to consume the news? That a large majority of them are going to say video, because again, that's what they're doing with TikTok and Instagram and Reels now. I think that people who are reading these lengthy articles, it is becoming a bit of a minority in today's workplace population.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about with keeping the content fresh, making everything there something that people, a destination where they want to come because they know they're going to be getting updated information. There's going to be interesting things to see and watch versus a new article to read. And so that all works together to create that information hub where people come back on a regular basis, not just when it's time for open enrollment or there's a message from the CEO. So I think it's definitely lots of cogs in the wheel to make this a truly unified portal where people continue to come and get information. So I think it all does definitely come together. Well, I think that is all the time we have for today. I think that we got through all of our questions. There might be one or two that we missed, so we'll definitely get back with them. If you submit a question and we didn't get an answer to it. And I would love to thank Eric and Dave and Teresa for your time. It's been really insightful sharing this information, so we definitely appreciate that. We will send a link to the recording so you can share that with any of your colleagues who weren't able to make it. And we'll also put up a slide in just a second with some QR codes that you can scan for additional information about Vbrick's integration with Employee Center Pro. And I want to thank all of you again for joining us, and we look forward to working with you on your own employee engagement and video journey. So thanks so much.